Welcome to today's Zip orientation. My name is Derek Young, and I'll be conducting today's training. In this training, I'll guide you through the Zip admin site from start to finish, focusing on the settings that matter most for configuring your borrower experience, managing loan originators, and connecting Zip to Point. First, let's talk about the Company Main tab. This is where you control the primary landing page borrowers see when they access your Zip site. So think of Company Main like your front door. It sets the tone for the borrower, and it's where you decide what options they see first and how clean or confusing that first impression is. From here, borrowers can either apply directly with your company or choose a loan originator during the application process. That's an important detail. Some organizations want borrowers to start at the company level and get routed later. Others want borrowers to select a specific loan originator right away. Zip supports both approaches, and Company Main is where that borrower journey begins. Now right here, you can enable language selection so borrowers can switch between English and Spanish. And it's worth calling out, this setting applies to both the site and the application. So it's not just the landing page that changes, it carries into the borrower's experience as they go through the online application. Next up, your Zip site has a single URL. This is the link you can share with borrowers or place on your company website. So when someone asks, what link do I send? This is typically that main company level link. Later on, you may also work with loan originator specific URLs, but this one is the baseline. As you move through Company Main, you'll see a few design options that control how your landing page looks to borrowers. You'll typically have a layout or design type selection with a few different options. The key thing to know is that these options change the visual layout and styling of the page. But the core borrower actions stay the same. Borrowers can still start the application, view loan officers where that's enabled, and access the tools you turn on. You'll also have background image options. Zip includes a library of pre-made background images you can choose from, and you can upload your own custom image if you prefer. Now, below that, you'll have a preview section that also allows you to make additional edits on the company landing page. At the top of the preview, you'll see these blue edit hyperlinks across the screen. The one at the top allows you to turn on your company banner, and this is where you can add your company logo to the top of the landing page. Scrolling just a little further down, the next edit link allows you to update your mission statement or welcome message. Basically, what you want your borrowers to see when they visit the company landing page. Below that, this is where your company's actual information is added to the landing page. Things like company name, address, phone, email, and any other key identifiers. And if anything needs to be adjusted, you can edit it right here. You can also add logos at the bottom of the page. This is where you'll typically place logos like Equal Housing Opportunity and your company logo. And then, after making any changes on any screen, be sure to click Save here at the bottom. You'll also see a preview option down here as well, so you can preview your landing page from this screen before saving. Next up, let's move into the Set Loan Originators List tab. This section controls which loan originators borrowers can see when starting an application. You'll manage two lists, one showing all loan originators in Zip, and another showing only those visible on the company main page. So if you think of the company main page as the borrower's entry point, this tab controls who shows up as available for borrowers to select. If you don't want a loan originator displayed to borrowers, simply move them out of the visible list and save your changes. Now let's take a look at the Calculators tab. Here, you can enable the borrower-facing mortgage calculator and add short descriptive text. The calculator is a confidence builder because it gives borrowers something useful right away, even if they're not ready to fully apply yet. Next, let's review the Product Introduction tab. This tab controls whether loan products are displayed to borrowers. You can add a brief introduction above the products and optional text below them. This is a great place for a short, borrower-friendly statement. Once product visibility is enabled, we'll move into the Product Details tab. This is where individual loan products are created and maintained. You'll enter the product name, description, and any applicable loan details. Products can be reordered to control how borrowers see them. That reordering matters because borrowers typically pay the most attention to what they see first. Now I'm going to switch gears and go to the company landing page and show you all of the items we just discussed. This is a helpful step because this allows you to preview the landing page before you make it visible to your borrowers. Here on the landing page, you can see the company logo I added at the top. If I decided I wanted it aligned to the far left, I could go back and make those changes. Look just a little further down. This is the mission statement or welcome message that borrowers will see. And right below that is where borrowers can start the online application by clicking the Apply Now button. From here, the borrower can have the choice to apply directly with an individual loan originator, or if they don't know a loan originator, apply directly with the company. Back on the main screen, right below that, you'll see the borrower-facing mortgage calculator, where borrowers can enter real numbers to get estimates and even generate a payment schedule that appears at the bottom. This is the company information that was entered for the borrower to see. Right below that is the additional information you added for your borrowers to see. And of course, you can see the 2 logos we added down at the bottom. Now, if we scroll back to the top, in the top right-hand corner, you'll see several buttons. The first one is the product button. This is where borrowers can see the product introduction and footer and the actual products you set up on the admin site. They can select a product and browse through what your company offers. All right. Going back to the main landing page, the next button is Loan Officers. This is where borrowers can see the loan originators they can apply with directly. So, if they know Derek, they can click Apply Now next to his profile, complete Derek's online application, and submit it to him directly. Back to the main landing page. The AZ icon, if enabled, is where borrowers can click to change the verbiage of the main landing page and the online application from English to Spanish. And again, this does change the verbiage on both the landing page and the application. All right, now that we've seen how the borrower experience looks from the outside, let's review default information. This section is important because by default, whatever customization you do here as the admin will apply to all loan originators you add to Zip, unless you give them access to edit or customize their own landing pages. In default information, you can set the logo or headshot you want borrowers to see when they visit an individual loan originator's landing page. You can also enter the company information that appears on those pages and choose whether or not that information is displayed. You also have the ability to personalize the loan originator landing pages with images, text, and videos, so the pages feel more branded and more tailored to the borrower experience. And just like on the company main side, you can enable language selection for loan originator landing pages. Finally, you also have the option to add up to 2 company logos at the bottom of the landing page. Now let's go to the Banner and Colors tab, and this is where you control the look and feel of the borrower interview portal landing page. Right up top, you'll see Select Type. This is where you pick the overall layout style for the landing page. You'll just click the one you want, and that choice sets the general format of how the page is going to be arranged for borrowers. Now, right below that, we're in the Edit Banner and Colors section. Moving across this row, you'll see your color controls, main color, secondary color, and background color. Over on the right, you've got a font drop down to set the font borrowers will see, and set back to default in the top right resets everything if you need to start over. Now, when you click Edit Banner, you'll get 3 options: no banner, text, or image, and most companies choose image so they can display their logo at the top. Then down in the banner navigation options section, you can set a link so that when a borrower clicks the banner, it takes them to a website. You'll type the URL right here. And once you're done, click Save at the bottom to lock it in. And here's a quick example of how this can look in real life. As you can see, I've been given access to edit my own loan originator landing page, so I've changed the logo to my headshot. And if I scroll down, you can see all of the images, text, logos, and videos that were set under the default information section. And these will appear to borrowers when they visit my landing page. So default information shows up here as the baseline, and Banner and Colors controls the presentation. All right, let's move into loan originators. This is where users are added and managed. As an admin, you can create new users, assign access levels, manage forwarding, and control which states each loan originator is licensed in. To add a new user, click the New User button, and you'll start by filling out the contact information for your loan originator. From there, you'll pick the configuration of application you want their borrowers to fill out. We'll talk more about this in the configuration section, but for now, just remember, configuration controls what the borrower sees in the application flow. Next is where you grant the access rights you want the user to have. All right, let's go over the access rights. Disable site enables the site only for e-signatures and document requests. So the user is limited to those functions. No access enables all functions, but the user will not have an LO landing page. This is a common choice for internal staff who need to be in Zip for workflow reasons, reporting, or admin support. Read-only limited access allows the user to access their LO landing page, but they will not be able to make changes or customize. And edit/user configurable grants access to loan originator functions and allows loan originators to customize their landing pages with images, text, links, videos, and logos. Last, you'll select all the states that user is licensed to work in, and then click Save. Once you've added a new loan originator to Zip, they will appear down in the list. You'll see they are automatically assigned a site number, their email address becomes their username, and a web address or their individual LOURL is also created. This is what you would give to your borrower, so they can complete the online application through that loan originator's personal landing page, and it keeps the borrower tied to that loan originator's workflow. If you ever need to edit access rights, company information, or loan configurations, you can click the Edit Users icon. This pulls up the same screen you saw when you initially added the user. You're just reopening the setup screen and adjusting what you need. And back on the far left, you'll also see the user's name displayed as a hyperlink. If the loan originator has access to customize their landing page, they would click that hyperlink to make edits and add content to their page. This is also where they can choose which phone number is displayed to borrowers who visit their landing page. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see an area that allows the loan originator to change their individual URL. By default, it's typically their first and last name. But if they'd like to change it, they have the option. Once those updates are complete, they'll click Save. Next, let's talk about the Forwarding tab. Forwarding allows you to designate one loan originator to receive another user's online applications, document requests, and e-signatures. This is especially useful for coverage scenarios, like vacations, temporary reassignment, or when someone transitions roles and another person needs to take over their pipeline. First, you'll select the loan originator you want the information forwarded from. In the second drop-down, you'll select the user you want the information forwarded to, then you'll click Add. Once you click Add, you'll see those users appear in the chart below, which indicates they are linked together. This setup means that Lawrence will receive all of Derek's notifications for submitted applications, document requests, and disclosure packages, and Lawrence would also be able to pull those items into point for Derek if he wasn't available. When you're ready for the forwarding to end, the admin would come back in and cancel the forwarding. And at that point, Lawrence would no longer receive Derek's notifications or have access to pull any of Derek's documents back into the system. Next, configurations. This section controls the structure of the online application, like what the borrower sees, what sections are included, and where custom questions appear. And configurations get assigned to loan originators. Inside configurations, you can create a full application, a shorter version, or a pre-qualification flow. Typically, you're working from a list of application sections on the right, and you're checking or unchecking what you want to show. Anything you deselect does not appear to the borrower for that configuration. Then you'll notice there are two areas for custom questions. The main difference is where you want them to appear in the application flow. For example, if you click Edit on Custom Question Screen 1, those questions might appear after the borrower completes the contact section. And when you're adding questions, you're not stuck with one format. You can pick text, multiple choice, checkboxes, currency, date, and you can make a question required if you want to force an answer. Now, at the bottom of the configuration screen, there are options for how to handle a co-borrower. You can allow the main borrower to collect co-borrower info on their behalf, or you can send a separate interview notification to the co-borrower so they can complete their portion independently. Then Zip can merge borrower and co-borrower data into one application inside Point. Once you've created your configurations, how do they actually get used? That happens back in Loan Originators. You assign a configuration when you add a new user or when you edit an existing user. Whatever configuration they're assigned is what borrowers will see when applying through that LO. All right, after that, we'll review the Disclaimer, Authorization, and Result tab. This is where you manage required disclosures, terms of use, and privacy policy text. Borrowers must accept these before submitting an application. This is also where you can enable automatic e-consent and choose whether you want that to display for borrowers when they start the application or at the end of the application. And if your compliance team needs any of this verbiage to state something other than what Zip has defaulted, You as the admin have access to update or change the verbiage in any of the sections we're reviewing. Next, let's review the Terms of Use and Privacy Policy section. This is where you control the borrower-facing terms and privacy language that appears as part of the submission flow. And the same thing applies here as well. If needed, as the admin, you can update the verbiage for your Terms of Use and Privacy Policy. Next, let's look at the Retention Policy tab. This setting controls how long applications, documents, and e-signatures are stored, and it can be really helpful if you ever need to re-import information into Point. You'll typically see two sections here. The first is loan information, which translates to the online application. You may see it defaulted to 60 days, but you can increase it up to a maximum of 365 days or 1 year. The reason this matters is that if something happens to the application inside a Point, you may be able to re-import it back into the system from zip as long as the retention window hasn't passed. The second section is e-disclosures and e-signature. You may see this defaulted to 90 days, and it also has a maximum retention period of 365 days. This comes into play if borrower uploaded documents, e-disclosures, or e-signatures ever need to be imported back into the system for any reason. So in most cases, I recommend setting both retention periods to the highest allowed time frame. It gives you the most flexibility if you need to retrieve something later. Now we'll move into the Email Settings tab. On this screen, you'll see two sub-tabs at the top. We'll start with the Email Address tab, which we're currently on. The primary email address will always be the email of the current Zip user you're logged in under. This email address also serves as your username when you log into Zip. The additional email address section below allows you to add up to 5 additional emails to receive the primary account holder's alerts for submitted applications, borrower uploaded documents, and e-disclosure packages. This is useful when more than one person needs visibility, like a shared mailbox, a team lead, or an admin who monitors activity. Just keep in mind, these additional emails will only receive the alerts. They will not be able to import those items into the system like they can when set up, using the forwarding feature we discussed earlier. Now, let's move over to the next sub-tab, Email Preference. In the first section, receive LO notification emails. When you turn this on and enter your email in the field, you'll be CC'd on all notification emails that are sent to all of the loan originators in your company. This is useful for oversight, especially if you want to keep an eye on activity without logging in constantly. In the middle section, receive notification email with borrower contact information. If this is toggled on, you'll receive an email notification advising you that a borrower has started the online application. This does not mean the borrower has completed the application. If you only want to be notified when the borrower submits the full application, you would keep this section toggled off. And at the very bottom, this is where you set your time zone. Setting the correct time zone matters because timestamps, reminders, and tracking should match your operations workflow. Now let's move into the Edit Emails tab. This section is where you customize the automated emails Zip sends out. You'll see a long drop-down in the middle of the screen. This drop-down lets you select the specific automated email you want to review based on the action that triggers it. And you'll notice that when you select a different option from the drop-down, the email verbiage below updates to match that email. If you need to change anything, you can click the Edit button. Inside the Edit screen, you can update the subject, body, footer, and the email signature at the bottom. In the body of the email, you'll notice bracketed text, which are known as merge fields. Merge fields are the bracketed sections that auto-populate information from the borrower interview or from data stored within the Zip admin site. For example, borrower name, loan originator information, or other details Zip already has. If you need to add additional merge fields, click the Insert Merge Fields drop-down and select the merge field you want to insert. When you insert them, try to place them where they read naturally. Moving down to the Signature section, there should be a sample email signature template defaulted in that signature field. If the signature field is blank, go back to the main screen and click Set Back to Default. That will re-upload the default email signature, and then you can edit it as needed. Before we move on, a quick note. Any changes we've made to these automated emails have been for the current user, in this case, Derek. So if you're thinking, I want everyone's emails to match this, you'll use Copy Settings. If you scroll back up, you'll see a Copy Settings hyperlink. This lets you copy all automated emails in this section, including any wording changes and any additional merge fields. To copy settings to another user, use the Copy from drop-down, select the user you want to match Derek, and click Copy. And if you've just added multiple loan originators and want them all to use the same email setup, you can click Select All Users to populate everyone, then click Copy. It's a quick way to keep your team's automated emails consistent. Now, if we scroll to the very bottom, you'll see Manage Social Media. Here you can add up to 5 social media links to your emails or email signature. Check the box next to the link you want to display, enter the URL, and click Save. Those links will appear when emails go out to the borrower. And if you want to preview what the email looks like, click Send Sample to send a test email to yourself. Next, let's review the Edit Reminders tab. This is where you configure reminders for document requests and e-sign requests, and also reminders for incomplete loan interviews. You can control the delivery method, timing, and frequency. You'll see 2 tabs at the top. The first tab, Document e-sign request reminder, is for document requests and e-disclosure packages. The second tab, Incomplete loan interview reminder, is for incomplete online applications. If we scroll down, you'll notice this is set up similar to the Edit Email section. You can edit the verbiage for the email reminder and the text notification reminder, and you can use merge fields here as well. Now scrolling back up to the Use Borrower Dashboard Reminder section, when you toggle reminders on, you can choose how the borrower will receive them, either by email, text, or both. In the first reminder drop-down, you can set the reminder as far back as 14 days before the due date. Once you choose that, you can also set what time the alerts go out. And in the reminder frequency drop-down, you have 4 options for how often reminders are sent. Once, which is on the due date, twice, which sends one reminder on the first day and another on the due date, every day, or every other day. Pick what matches your workflow and your borrower experience. The system will do exactly what you tell it, so set it intentionally. And just like Edit Emails, you'll see the Copy Settings hyperlink at the top. It works the same way, so you can copy reminder settings to other users. Once you finish setting up reminders, be sure to click Save in any section where you made changes. Now let's click over to Incomplete Loan Interview Reminder. This tab is for borrowers who start an online application but don't finish it. At that point, the borrower either has to close out and restart from the beginning, or they can select Save and Continue later and create a borrower dashboard so they can log back in with their email and the password they create, finish where they left off, and complete any follow-up tasks like document uploads or e-signing. Most of the setup here works the same way as the Document/e-sign tab. Turn reminders on or off, choose reminder methods like email and text, customize the reminder messaging, set the time of day you want the reminders to go out, and click Save when you're done. Now here's what's different. You'll see an option called Alert Loan Originator. If you check this box, the loan originator receives a single email letting them know a borrower has an incomplete interview, so they can follow up if needed. Next, look at First Reminder. This works differently than the Document/e-sign tab. For incomplete applications, it's not based on a due date. This drop-down controls how many days after the borrower leaves the application unfinished you want reminders to start. For example, if you choose 1 day, reminders start 1 day after the borrower stops, and then reminder frequency is also different here. This drop-down controls how many total reminders you want to send, with a max of 3. That's why the options are once, twice, and 3 times. It matches the maximum number of alerts you can send on up to 3 different days. After reminders are configured, let's briefly review the reports. In the Borrower Interview Report, this is where you find all submitted online applications. Each entry is dated and time-stamped and includes the borrower's first and last name, email address, phone number, and the loan originator name. And at the very end of each row, you'll see a blue Resend hyperlink. This is what you would click if you need to re-import an application back into Point. In e-sign reports, this is where you'll see a list of all the e-disclosures you've requested from borrowers. These entries are dated and time-stamped, and they include the borrower's email address and the name of the e-disclosure package that was sent. And again, you'll see the blue Resend hyperlink, which allows you to import those disclosures back into Point when needed. In Borrower Uploaded Documents, this section works in a similar way and displays a list of all submitted borrower uploaded documents. Again, these entries are dated and time-stamped, and you have the ability to import these documents back into Point. Now, an important note, this is where the retention policy we discussed earlier comes into play. So, continuing on that important note about reports and retention, in these three areas we just covered, borrower interview report, e-sign reports, and borrower uploaded documents, the data stored here is only retained for the time frame set in retention policy. Once that retention period expires, you will no longer be able to resend these items back to Point, and the blue resend link will appear grayed out. Now in the billing statement report, you can view billing and usage information in real time. This will show you how many users you currently have and the monthly fee per user. You can also see how many e-sign disclosures you sent out for the month and what the current total cost is for the month. In borrower statistics, you can review key statistics for borrower activity, including submission attempts, successful submissions, abandoned loans, and registered borrowers. In the total number of borrowers registered section, you'll see a hyperlink number. When you click it, Zip displays the borrowers who registered through a loan originator landing page, including their email address, registration date, loan submission date, e-consent status, and the name of the loan originator. You also have the option to download this list as an Excel file. Down in the loan submission report section, you can generate a report for a specific loan originator and narrow it down by entering a date range. Or you can click search without filling anything in to run the report for all loan originators. Once you run the search, Zip will display the number and percentage of borrowers who started, abandoned, or submitted the application. And you can also download this report as an Excel spreadsheet. Next, let's review Google Analytics. If you register your Zip account with Google Analytics, this gives you the ability to track patterns in how borrowers are using your Zip borrower portal. It can capture analytics such as total revenue spent, how much time borrowers are spending on the site, and other engagement data. So if you want a deeper, more analytical view of what's going on behind the scenes, this is a great feature to enable. Next, we'll move into the Document Template tab. This screen allows you to set up a maximum of 22 documents that you can request with the initial application submission. To add a new document, click Add New Document at the top. For each document, you can choose whether it is required. If a document is marked required, the borrower must upload it before they can submit the application. You can also add conditions so a document is only requested when it actually applies to the borrower. For example, let's look at a divorce decree. If you click Edit Conditions and everything is selected, that means the borrower will be asked to upload a divorce decree no matter what they entered, potentially even if they are not married. But if you deselect everything and then only check options like separated, alimony, and child support and click OK, now the borrower will only be requested to upload a divorce decree if they indicated they are separated, have alimony, or pay child support. This helps prevent borrowers from being asked for documents they don't need, and it helps keep the request list relevant. And lastly, you'll see the grace period field, which is typically defaulted to 7 days. The grace period comes into play when a borrower creates a borrower dashboard. Borrowers do not have to create a borrower dashboard to use Zip, but if they don't, there are two features that will not work for them: the reminder alerts feature we discussed earlier and the grace period. An important note here is that a borrower will be prompted to create a borrower dashboard if they start the online application, don't have time to finish, and choose to save their progress. At that point, they'll create the dashboard using their email address and a password. That allows them to log back in later and continue the application where they left off instead of starting over. And it also helps with documents. If the borrower doesn't have the requested documents ready at the time of the initial submission, they can submit the application without the documents, as long as you didn't mark them as required to upload, and then upload the documents later through the borrower dashboard within the grace period you set. The grace period can be set up to a maximum of 365 days. This gives borrowers additional time to gather documents and upload them without you having to send multiple document requests for the same items. Now let's review the VOA settings tab. This feature should only be toggled on if you have a user ID and password from Account Check. If you do not have those credentials, leave this toggled off, because turning it on without valid credentials can cause issues when trying to import applications into Point. Next, let's move into the Security tab. This section allows you to configure password requirements and enable two-factor authentication for borrowers and users when toggled on. Below that, you can adjust the password parameters for borrower dashboards, including complexity requirements, and you can also control password expiration. So when this is toggled on, a borrower's dashboard password will expire after the time frame you set, and they'll be required to reset it. Lastly, we'll review the payment management area. First, under the payment management tab, this section allows you to change or update the banking or credit card information you use to pay for Zip. Next, under the account management tab, this is where you can unsubscribe or deactivate your Zip account. Once your Zip account is deactivated, any pending application submissions, borrower uploaded documents, or e-sign requests that have not been completed or retrieved will no longer be accessible. Now we've covered all of the main functions of the Zip admin site. So now I want to show you how to connect Zip to Point. Inside of Point, you'll start by navigating to the Utilities tab. From there, scroll down to Zip Preferences. Here you'll enter your administration email, which is the email you use to log into your Zip account, along with your Zip password, your site number, and your Zip site address, which is your personal URL to the online application. Below that, in the Download Instructions section, choose the default folder where you want your online applications to import into. You can always change the folder right before you import if you want a particular application to go into a different data folder. Next, choose how you want your loan files named. If you want to name them manually, select the manual naming option. If you already use autofile naming in Point, you can select Zip autofile naming. And for file type, you always want to select borrower, not prospect, and then click OK. All right, now that Zip preferences are set, the easiest way to confirm your credentials are valid is to go to the Loans tab in the navigation panel and click Import from Zip. If your credentials are incorrect, you'll receive an error message. At that point, go back to Utilities, open Zip Preferences, and confirm everything is entered correctly. Pay close attention to formatting, no commas where periods should be, and no extra characters like backslashes before or after the email address. And if the pop-up box opens and shows available applications, that tells you your credentials are correct and you have applications ready to import into Point. So in this example, it's showing I have one application ready to be imported into Point. I'll make sure the application is checked, and if you had more than one, you would check each application you want to import. Down in the Import to Point section, you'll see the default data folder we set under Zip Preferences. But if you need to change the destination, you can use the drop-down to select a different data folder. This is helpful when you want to route a file into a specific folder for a specific workflow without changing your global defaults. You can also adjust the file naming option right here in this pop-up, and you'll leave the file type set to borrower. Once that's set, click Import. Once you click Import and Point finishes bringing the application into the system, you'll get a pop-up confirming the import, and you'll see the borrower's name. Click OK. Close the Zip import window, and then click Search to refresh your pipeline. Now look for the imported loan file in the data folder you selected. This is your online application. Now, if this borrower uploaded documents with the initial application and you want to import those into Point as well, here's how. First, open the loan file. Once you're inside the loan file, open Document Management. You can do this two ways. Click the file cabinet icon on the toolbar, or go to eLoan File and select Document Management. When Document Management opens, click Send and Retrieve in the top left. This searches the server for any borrower uploaded documents or e-disclosure packages tied to that loan file. Once it completes, you'll see a list confirming what was successfully imported into Point. And that's how you import the online application, along with borrower uploaded documents, into Point. Now here's the next scenario. Requesting additional documents from your borrowers. In Point, you'll do this by going to the Track tab on the menu bar and selecting Status. From here, scroll down to the third section titled Document Request. You'll see a list of documents you can request from the borrower. You can request multiple documents at the same time. Click a line item to highlight it, then hold Control or Shift to select multiple documents. Once you've selected the documents, click Send and Retrieve at the top of that section. You'll get a pop-up listing the documents you're requesting. At the bottom, you can add special notes to the borrower if needed. Then click Send and Retrieve at the bottom of the pop-up. Once it completes, you'll get a confirmation message indicating the documents were sent successfully to the borrower. And this pop-up box indicates success. So that means the borrower just received an email to upload the documents we requested. Now I'm going to show you the email the borrower just received. And as you can see in the body of the email, the borrower has 2 outstanding documents to upload, their bank statements and a credit explanation letter. And above that, you'll see a sign-in hyperlink. That tells us this borrower has already created a borrower dashboard. So the borrower will click sign in, which takes them to the borrower dashboard login screen. From there, they'll enter their email address and the password they created and click sign in. Once the dashboard loads, they'll see a blue pop-up letting them know they have outstanding documents to upload. They'll click got it, and now they can start working through the tasks on their to-do list. Before I upload anything, I want to click my profile in the top left. This is where the borrower can update their name, mobile phone number for receiving verification codes, and language preference. And below that, the borrower has 3 opt-out options. One for agreeing to do business electronically, the second to authorize the sending of related informational text messages, and the last for unsubscribing from email requests and reminders. They can also reset their borrower dashboard password from here as well. All right, now moving back over to the dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and upload those documents. What you'll notice is after I upload each document, it disappears from my to-do list and it migrates over to the completed tab. So once I've completed uploading my documents, and as the borrower, I can always go into the completed tab and download any of these documents from my personal records. Once the borrower has completed uploading all of the documents you requested, you, as the loan originator, will receive an email. And I'll slide over to that now. This is your confirmation that it's time to go back into Point, open that loan file, and import the requested documents in. And the process is the same as before. We'll open Document Management, click Send and Retrieve, and you should now see those uploaded documents stored in the Document Manager. Now, let's walk through sending an e-disclosure package for a borrower to sign and return. In Point, you can start this by clicking the printer icon on the toolbar, or by clicking the File menu and selecting Print. Once the print window opens, you'll see several tabs across the top. Click Print Groups. Here, you'll see the list of print groups you've created. Select the print group you want to use. For this demonstration, I'm going to deselect the print group items and click Deselect. And just keep in mind, you'll need to click each item one at a time as you remove them. Then I'm going to navigate back over to the Forms tab and select the option for Application All. Once I make that selection, I'm going to click the Output option drop-down and select eSign. Once I do that, I'll click the eSign button and let the process begin. Once that first process is complete, you'll be presented with a pop-up box. First thing you'll need to do is give your disclosure package a name. Right below that is a small but important checkbox. Send as one PDF, and you want to make sure you check it. If you don't, Point will send a separate email for every form you have listed here, so always check Send as one PDF. To the far right of that, this is where you can set your due date. Once you've completed everything, you'll want to click the Send button at the bottom. Again, Point will go through its process, and we're waiting for our success confirmation pop-up, and there it goes. So this means the borrower just received an email notification to sign the disclosure package we just sent, and I, as the loan originator, also received an email to sign my portion of the disclosure package. So first, I'm going to pull up the borrower's email. But right here, you can see the disclosure package that is currently outstanding. So the borrower is going to click Sign In again, sign into their borrower dashboard with their email address and password. Click Got It on the blue pop-up box. And this time, instead of asking me to upload, it's asking me to sign. At that point, it's going to take me to a secure website, and here I'm going to click Authenticate. After clicking Authenticate, this screen is letting the borrower know a passcode has been sent to their phone via text message, which I just received. So I'm going to enter that code right here and click Login. Once I do that, the first thing that pops up is the automatic e-consent, which I enabled in the Zip admin site. The borrower has to check the box and accept the terms before they can sign the disclosure package. From here, the borrower has 2 options. They can click Next to move through every page, or they can click Required Actions in the top right corner, which jumps them directly to the pages that need a signature. So I'm going to click Sign here, and then click Confirm at the bottom. At this point, I've completed signing, and I can review or download the document for my records. Now, as the loan originator, I also received an email to sign my portion of the disclosure package. So I'm going to pull that up so you can see it. This is the email I received as the loan originator, and you'll notice it looks different than the borrower's email. This is what the email looks like when someone doesn't create a borrower dashboard. Instead of being prompted to sign in, they'll see a button that says e-sign documents. So I'm going to click, and it still takes me to a secure website. From here, I'll opt into the acknowledgement at the bottom of the screen, accept the automatic e-consent, and sign my portion of the disclosure package. Once I'm done, I'll click confirm at the bottom, and now all parties have signed their portion of the disclosure package. Now, while me and the borrower were completing our portions, both of us were receiving email notifications at each step. As the borrower, I received an email letting me know I completed signing my portion. Then after the loan originator signed, I received another email advising that all parties have completed signing, and I can also download the document securely from that email. As the loan originator, I received emails as well. The first email lets me know one of the signers completed signing. The second email, after I completed my portion, states that all parties have completed signing the disclosure package. Now, as the loan originator, those emails are your cue to go back into Point, make sure you're in the correct loan file, and import the disclosure package in. And the steps are the same as importing borrower documents. Go to Document Management, click Send and Retrieve. Now wait for Point to complete its process. And then look for the confirmation pop-up, letting you know the disclosure package was imported successfully. And now let's say you want to send the borrower a document, or the borrower is requesting a document be sent to them, like the fees worksheet. That can be done securely through Zip as well. So we'll navigate back to Document Management, and I'm going to click the Add button in the middle of the top menu bar. This gives us two options. The first option is Add File from Computer. This allows you to browse for documents on your device and add them into Document Management. And quick side note, you can also drag and drop documents directly into the document manager as well. The second option is Add Point Forms. This allows you to select point forms and send those to the borrower securely through Zip. So I'm going to select Add Point Forms and click OK. Once that loads, I'm going to scroll down and select the fees worksheet. And once I select it, you'll notice the output option drop down is already set to store, which means it's going to store this file in Document Management. So now I'm going to click Store. Once I do that, I can preview the form before I click Add, and you can see the fees worksheet has now been added into Document Management. Now, to send it to the borrower with the form highlighted in blue, I'm going to click Send and Retrieve. And this time, since we have a document selected, it brings up a pop-up box. At the top, you'll see the borrower's email address. You'll see the document you're sending listed here. And at the bottom, you can type a note to the borrower if needed, then click Send and Retrieve. And again, we're looking for that confirmation message, letting us know the document was sent successfully. And as you can see here, it was sent. Now the borrower just received another email to sign into their borrower portal. They'll sign in again. And what you'll notice is there is now a third tab at the top labeled Documents. If I click Documents, this is where the borrower will find the fees worksheet they requested, or any other document you send to them, so they can view it, keep it, and download it for their records. The last thing I want to show you back in Point is that you can add e-signature blocks to any custom form you import into Point, so those forms can be sent out to be e-signed by your borrowers too. To do that, navigate to the Templates tab in the navigation panel at the bottom and make sure the radio button is selected for custom forms, letters, and email. From here, highlight the custom form in blue and click the e-sign signature blocks button in the top menu bar. Once you click that, the e-sign designer pop-up will load and you should see a preview of your custom form. At the top, in the first drop-down labeled Select Signature Type, choose whether you want a full signature or just initials. Next, in the drop-down labeled Select Signer, choose who needs to sign, borrower, co-borrower, or loan originator. Once you've made those selections, click the icon to the right that looks like an open book. That will populate the signature block, and you can drag it to where you want it on the form. If you have a co-borrower that needs to sign as well, Scroll back up, select Co-Borrower from the Signer dropdown, click the same open book icon, and drag that signature block into place. If you need to remove a block, click the trash can icon. Once you've added all your signature blocks, click the Save Disk icon in the top right, then close out of the designer. Now, anytime you go back to the print section, choose the Custom Forms tab and select that form. Those signature blocks will already be saved and ready whenever you need to send it out for e-signature. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact our dedicated customer service at calyxdcs@calyxsoftware.com.